How goes it, everyone? I am the world famous Fat Kid, and today, week 4. We're going over week 4, which it was slightly better than before, but only by so much. 9-7. At least we're going back to the winning ways. Not as strong as that 13-3 week 1. Yeah, but we're getting there, okay? We're getting there. So, starting with the Thursday night game, Dallas Cowboys and the New Jersey Giants, which it was a struggle for Dallas. They won, but I expected that to be so much more of, I guess you could say, a bloodbath. But of course it wasn't, because Dallas is Dallas. Yeah, so we got that one. Then we go the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons, which this was a pretty good game, little back and forth. And I chose Atlanta. Atlanta got to kick a field goal as time expired, or pretty close to it, to win the game, which is always exciting, especially when it's against a division rival. That puts us at 2-0. Then I went out on a limb. Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Carolina Panthers, and I picked the Panthers, which they were within a score for most of the game, right? Cincinnati ends up winning by 10. They finally they break into the win column. Yeah, it was a long shot, okay? Then we got the Los Angeles Rams going up against the Chicago Bears, and, well, I got that one wrong. I picked the Rams, and the Bears came out and won. You know what? I should probably have the scores up in front of me, because I didn't really watch it. I barely followed it. I was a little busy on Sunday, but I tried to check in when I could. God, yeah, I hate this. Never mind. I'm just going to forget about it for now, because it's ridiculous. No. Anyway, yeah, Rams lose. They're just bad, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll get there eventually. Next, moving on to the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers up in cheese country, which I picked the Vikings, and I did not expect it to go the way it did. 28-0 at one point, but of course, the Packers. Okay, before I get into that, personally, I think they should have had Love sit out for another week. He came back and played. He looked, I don't know, the stats say he was really good, but he also threw, what was it, 2 interceptions? Yeah, I think they rushed him back. He could have sat for another week, and I think they would have been fine. But that's my opinion. Anyway, they ended up making it a game because Love did throw 4 touchdowns, and the offense came roaring back, but just not enough to beat the Vikings. So, Vikings, still undefeated. Crazy. Crazy. Crazy that it's Sam Darnold. Darno, whatever. Anyway. Next, Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. Yeah. It was a competitive game from what I can see. And I picked Houston. Houston ended up winning 24-20. They took the lead late in the game on a touchdown to a former Jaguar. I did watch the highlights on this one. I watched highlights on a few. And yeah, it's just the Texans are not looking as unbeatable as I previously thought. So that's an interesting development. They're winning games. They're 3-1, but yeah. Anyway, next we got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts, which I picked the Steelers, and yeah, Colts won. Colts were up early, and then Anthony Richardson went out. But the Steelers Slayer, Joe the Elite Dragon Flacco, apparently, I didn't even know he was on the Colts until this game, just came out and, well, he knows how to beat the Steelers. We'll just put it at that. It ended up becoming a 3-point game, but I didn't see this coming. The Steelers looked really good. Their offense was kind of anemic, but their defense was really good. And then the Colts just decided to beat them. Granted, they used Joe Flacco, who knows that team very well. So, whatever works, right? Then we move on to the Denver Broncos and the New Jersey Jets. And the Broncos won. I picked the Jets thinking more high-powered offense, decent defense. And the defense held Bo Nix to under 60 yards and a touchdown. But that's all the Broncos needed because the Jets find a way. Like, this is where I would put in Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park Life. Finds a way. Because the Jets missed a field goal late in the game to take the lead. Granted, I think there was like 20, 30, something like that seconds left in the game. But they had the win. And Greg Zuerlein just missed. Womp womp. Bad luck, Jets. Then we move on to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Bucks, and a rematch of, was it the wild card? Yes, it was the wild card round where Tampa Bay beat Philly, and they did it again. 33-16. Yes, I have the scores now. I watched the highlights of this because I was very curious how it got that bad. And Eagles couldn't tackle. They're missing A.J. Brown. They're missing Devonta, sorry. But their defense could not wrap anybody up. They were just bouncing off of Buccaneers. It's insane. Plus, the Bucs defense, pretty good. Like, we knew that already. And Baker was baking, cooking, all the fun things about that. Yeah, Bucs look scary. Granted, not scary enough to be true Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion, yet. But they might win the division and oust somebody in the first round of the playoffs. Next, we move on to the division leading Washington Commanders and the Arizona Cardinals. Who would have thought, even though it's only 4 weeks, the Commanders are leading the NFC East? Ooh, they looked really good, really sharp. Jaden Daniels, well, I wish. That's all I'm going to say. I wish. But, yeah, they took care of business against a very poor Arizona team. They made it close in the first half, and then Washington just ran away in the second half. I did watch these highlights as well. I was curious. Yeah, picked Washington. Cool. Next, moving on to the New England Patriots and the San Francisco 49ers. Look, New England tried. Not very well, but they tried. And San Francisco just too many weapons. Even with Christian McCaffrey hurt still and won't be back until maybe November at the earliest. Anyway. Yep, 49ers get the win. Yeah, most of us saw that coming. Then we move on to the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. And the Chargers had the lead for most of the game. And and then they just didn't. Like, the Chargers will do Chargers things no matter who's coaching them, no matter who is playing for them. The Chargers will do Chargers things. They had the game and they stopped. They stopped playing. And, a 58-yard bomb to Xavier Worthy, I think it was 58 or 68, somewhere between those eights. There was a touchdown pass that completely just changed momentum, and the Chiefs, playing piss poor, are still winning games. They're 4-0. We talked about last year, the Chiefs look bad, they look terrible, they're out of sync, they're blah, 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 blah. And they lost more games then and still won a Super Bowl. Now they're 4-0, and if they three-peat, I am... Hello? Somebody's honking. If they three-peat, I don't know what I'll do. I'm going to stare off into space a little bit. Anyway, moving on to the Cleveland Browns and the Las Vegas Raiders. And good news is Raiders won 20-16. It was not pretty. They won without Devontae Adams and Max Crosby. The bad news is they're going to have to figure out a way to win without Devontae Adams going forward, because he's requested a trade, or he'd prefer to be traded. That was the wording. And the front office is shopping him around. So, cool. That's what happens when you lose to the Panthers. Anyway, yay. Then, moving on to Sunday Night Football with the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. I picked the Bills, and they just... No. 87-yard touchdown run, first play of offense for the Ravens by Derrick Henry. That was a sign. 35-10. The Ravens just cruised and crushed. Buffalo couldn't do anything. Now, I'm not saying that Buffalo's bad, because I do think Baltimore's good. They just kind of looked iffy. But Buffalo's got to clean it up. Like, they got to figure out what happened, fix it, move on. Right? Right. Next, the game you guys saw me change while recording. The Tennessee Titans taking on the Miami Dolphins. And the change was good. I kind of went out on a limb taking the Titans, but with all the issues, even with Brett Huntley or Snoop Huntley, whatever his name is, Huntley, yeah, Dolphins could only muster 12 points. They're out of sync. They couldn't get Tyreek Hill going. They barely looked at Waddle. Achane had nothing. Meanwhile, Will Levis should be sat for the rest of the year for Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph came in and they scored points. Will Levis, not the answer in Tennessee. My opinion, leave him in Tennessee though. Leave him there. Don't do it, Vegas. Anyway, I went out on a limb, picked the Titans, changed the decision while recording, and it worked. Then we move on to the second game of the Monday Night Football doubleheader. Seattle Seahawks taking on the Detroit Lions, and I picked Seattle thinking Detroit was a little too banged up, and they dropped 42. They won by 13, 42-29. Shows how much I know, right? Right. But yeah, Detroit looked really good. Goff, 18 for 18, 2 touchdowns, catching a touchdown pass. And their two-headed monster, Montgomery and Gibbs. Yikes. As long as they stay healthy, at least one of them stays healthy all year. Granted, they work better as a tandem, but if one stays healthy, Detroit's going to be a great offense. Their defense is okay. They're serviceable, but not everybody can have a top 10 elite defense, obviously. But that's where we're going with that. 9-7. It's back to winning record, but not where I want to be. I want double digits minimum. So hopefully we'll improve on that next week and get back into that 10-6 plus territory. Anyway, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Till then, later.